Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Got question Chase, has got the facts, talking NFL numbers, he's got your back. A little chart trend ball, man, he's got it like that. Chasing data by do champions. Chasing data applies to everyone. Chasing data, yeah, we're live today. Chasing data for always. Chasing data by do champions.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chasing Data. I am your host, Chase. Tonight, we are finally well into the top 10. We are to team number 9. And that team, if you can't tell, are the Green Bay Packers. Packers have been around forever, and they're on the come up now. They're finally making their way. All right, we're ready to get started. Okay, so the Packers are finally relevant again. I mean, they took a year or so off, I guess. I don't know. They had the end of Aaron Rodgers' saga. What was going on with him? They get rid of him. They continued the trend of having a quarterback in tow, ready to step in and be the quarterback of the future in Jordan Love. So we're going to get right into the Packers, but first we're going to talk about what's going on in the past week for the offseason. So let's bring this up real quick. Let's see. Do a little pregame warm-up before we get started. There we go. So news that's happened in the last week, Justin Tucker news and the Aaron Rodgers news. So with Justin Tucker, suspended 10 games. We know that he got cut by the Ravens. Was that a week ago? He has a 10-game. I mean, we got cut well before that, but he got the 10-game suspension within the last week. They drafted a new kicker. His career is basically over. We know he had the worst season of his career in 2024, and with all the off the field drama, he is now probably retired. He has a 10-game suspension, and with that suspension, he's done for. Nobody's going to sign him, assuming he's going to come in week 11 at the earliest. We don't need to talk about his statistics. It was bad. He's not playing anymore. Aaron Rodgers come out and said this is probably his last season, which is his first season in Pittsburgh. As of right now, he's 7th in all-time pass yards at right under 63,000. He can only reach 5th all-time in one season because I want to say he's like 7,000 from 4th. But he needs just a little over 1,100 yards to get to 5th place. He has 503 passing touchdowns, currently 5th. He can get 37 more and he'll be 3rd. That's about as high as he can get. So, kind of a slow week. It's off season. We're still waiting for the season to get back in gear. So let's go ahead and hear from our sponsors and we'll get into the Green Bay Packers.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollo's, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
All right, so if you're new to what I've been doing this entire offseason, been going through and doing reverse power rankings, breaking down each team on this entire list as far as where I see them as far as rankings go into 2025. This is updated weekly. There's not many changes as of late because, I mean, it's off season. There's not much going on after the draft. I feel pretty comfortable for the most part of these. I mean, they are where there's a few tiers with these teams, but now I want to say 10 to 5 are in their own category, maybe 10 to 6. And then 1 through 5 are all easy Super Bowl contenders. But we will get there. 1 team per week. Last week we did the Houston Texans, who I have at number 10. Their only flaw is the offensive line. The Bucs may have a top 3 offense in the league. Their defense is not the best. So that's why they're at 11. Should run away with the NFC South, honestly. But now we are to team number 9, which is the Green Bay Packers, as we've said already. So looking at what they did last season. Last year they were 11-6. Their over-under this year is only 9.5, which is crazy. And I will explain why shortly, why I think it's crazy that it's that low. They are currently plus 2,000 to be the champs, which is the 8th best odds. They are plus 1,000 to win the conference, which is the 4th best odds. That puts them behind the likes of, I want to say, probably the Eagles, Lions, and Rams. Probably not the Commanders. Might be tied with the Commanders, maybe. They are plus 260 to win their own division, which is the 2nd best odds. And I do have them slightly behind the Lions. But the Lions could definitely be a toss-up, which we'll get into them in a few weeks, with no returning offensive or defensive coordinator. Last year, the Packers were 6-2. Then they were 9-3. And then they lost 3 of their last 5 games before losing in the playoffs. Head coach Matt LaFleur, 6 years as a head coach in Green Bay. He's been top 15 as far as points per game go every year. He has a 67-33 record. That means he wins 2 out of every 3 games. Playoffs 5 of the 6 years. He lost the NFC Championship game in his first 2 seasons in Green Bay. Just looking at Green Bay as a whole, I mean, just a generalized view of them before we get really into depth. They were 8th in points per game, just over 26, 7th in yards per game, 10th on third down, 10th in red zone scoring percentage. The run game was much better than I truly expected. I know Josh Jacobs was good, but I didn't realize they ran it as much as the numbers show. They had the 3rd highest run percentage at over 50% of their snaps being run plays, 4.7 yards per carry. On the flip side, they were 3rd to last on pass plays. The percentage of pass plays ran, a little over 49%. Completion percentage was in the bottom 3rd of the league, but they were 4th in yards per attempt, 8.1. On the defensive side of the ball, they were 5th in points per game allowed. I think their defense is very much underrated, which we will talk about more momentarily. They allowed the 5th fewest yards per play, 5.2. 7th best team on third down, allowing just 37% first down conversions. 3rd in yards per carry allowed at 4 per carry. 11th against the pass, which was the weaker part of their defense, but still, this defense was much better than a lot of people remember, I do believe. The offensive coordinator is Adam Stenavich, quote unquote. Adam Stenavich is his 4th year as offensive coordinator. Matt LaFleur is calling the plays. But the offense has improved each year since Stenavich has been a part of the team. DC is Jeff Hafley. It's his 2nd year. He comes from Boston College. The second half of the season for this team was exponentially better than the first half. He is basically a scheme lord as far as the defense goes, as far as bringing in these players, getting them on board, and scheming them up to what they need to do each and every week. You could see that in the second half, the way the defense flipped from where they were in the first half. They were 11-0 last year whenever their opponent had less than 23 points. So very good for the first-year defensive coordinator in the NFL. So let's bring up their depth chart real quick. Looking at their depth chart, they added, as you can see here, the orangish color names are free agents. The magenta, pink, whatever color you want to call that, are draftees. Red, as in Christian Watson, are currently pup list, not playing right now. And the tealish color, green, whatever you want to call that, are undrafted free agents. Obviously, this team, this depth chart will dwindle down quite a bit, but as of right now, this is the depth chart. So in the offseason, they added Aaron Banks to come in and solidify the left side of that line. The line wasn't terrible to begin with, but he is pricey pickup to help the interior of that offensive line for sure. Coming from San Francisco on a 4-year, $77 million contract, which is sixth in average value amongst guards in the NFL. Also on the offensive side of the ball, they get Mecole Hardman. They have him so deep on this depth chart. Jesus, this is like, you could say he's the 9th wide receiver on this depth chart. I mean, Bo Melton probably will get more run than Mecole Hardman. Hardman's not what he was in his early years, 19 and 20. I mean, last year was his worst year. Just 12 receptions, 90 yards, 0 touchdowns. The year before that, 15 receptions, 124 yards. I mean, he's known for the big plays. He's speedy. I mean, average yards per target, his first 2 years were over 10 yards per target. Last year, it was negative 1.1. So he was catching his targets, which he had 14 targets, and they were normally 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. Not what he was before. Bring in some depth. How much does he see the field? Not really sure, especially with the likes of Matthew Golden being a first-round pick, Romeo Doubs being there, Jaden Reed being there, Savion Williams coming in the 3rd round. They plan to get him some playing time, I'm sure, or would like to. Dontavion Wicks. Then Christian Watson's going to be back in October, November. I mean, I don't really know where Mecole Hardman fits into this group. Special teams, maybe? I don't know. Bo Melton's probably going to get some run still. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, they signed him in the offseason. On the defensive side of the ball, they added the likes of Nate Hobbs. And that's pretty much it. I mean, they have some more names on here, but they got Nate Hobbs from Las Vegas, who they get him on a 4-year, $48 million contract, which is 20th in average value. So not terrible. I mean, it's going to go down as the years go on. He only played 7 games last year, but had a 73 passer rating. So the secondary was somewhat of an issue. Comes in, fits in well with Jeff Hafley's scheme. They also take a flyer on Isaiah Simmons, who last was in New York with the Giants, drafted by the Cardinals a few years back. Played a little bit of safety, played some linebacker. They just tried to use him as a Swiss Army knife, and he never really stuck. He improved some in the last season, but will he get much playing time here? We'll see. We'll see. See if he makes it through camp and makes the final 55. All right, looking at their draft, we'll come back to the depth chart momentarily. But looking at their draft, 1st round, they finally go get a wide receiver in a year that I didn't think they would even go wide receiver in the 1st round. They are so desperate for a wide receiver 1. I don't know if Matthew Golden is going to be that person. I had him as wide receiver 4 behind the likes of, let's see, it was behind Travis Hunter, Ted McMillan, and Luther Burden, I believe. Wide receiver 4, him and Luther Burden were close 3-4. His NFL comp is Garrett Wilson. I mean, he explodes off the line. He's going to fit well with this offense. I will say that. Will he be a wide receiver 1 or a prototypical wide receiver 1? I'm not necessarily sure, but he can make that first defender miss. He's only one of 2 players or wide receivers to run a sub 4.3 at the combine this year. He makes acrobatic catches. Last year at Texas, he had 58 receptions for almost 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. A very complimentary piece to what this offense needs, honestly. 2nd round, they get a left tackle. And if we go back to this depth chart real quick, Anthony Belton. How long is it before he is starting on this offensive line? That's going to be interesting to see for sure. He's got great arm length. He's thick, wide-bodied, heavy hands for sure. He's got high-end bursts. At least he has flashes of it, but it's not consistent. I mean, he can climb up to the next level as well. So going to be interesting to see how he fits in on this offensive line. 3rd round, they go back and double dip on wide receiver, which was even crazier to me than them taking a wide receiver in round 1. They already have, Christian Watson will be back at some point. Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Dontavion Wicks. They have 27 wide receiver 2s, but 0 wide receiver 1s. They missed out on free agency, missed out on the trade market trying to get a wide receiver 1. They're just going to keep going to the well until they can finally get one. 3rd round, like I said, they get Savion Williams, wide receiver out of TCU. Super, super duper duper athletic. Played some quarterback, so we could get a trick play or 2 from Savion Williams at some point this season. He shows surprising wiggle for a big player. Pick 87. Kind of surprised he went at this point in the draft. He has good spatial awareness, lateral quickness, quick cuts. I mean, he's pretty much a defensive coordinator's nightmare. I mean, he can run the ball, he can receive the ball, and he also has a cannon of an arm. So you kind of have to really pay attention to what he's doing when he's on the field. Kind of a trickster for sure. 4th round, they get Baron Sorrell, the edge outside linebacker out of Texas, double dip in Texas after double dipping in wide receivers. I mean, he's starting off, I think he's going to be more of a rotational player. He's full of energy. I mean, I think if you get him in there on situational downs and see what he can do. I mean, he was more of a wide 9 at the beginning at Texas. He went inside some. He's got versatility for sure. So him with his speed will definitely get some play time, especially on this aging defensive front. Look at these players, especially on the left side. Rashawn Gary drafted in 2019, Kenny Clark in 2016. I mean, he could get some run early on for sure. And then going over the rest, linebacker Colin Oliver out of OK State, Warren Brinson, lineman, Georgia, Michael Robinson, another DB, and John Williams, another tackle, both in the 7th round. Never know what's going to happen with these late round picks. Who did they lose this year? Go back to the depth chart. They didn't really lose much on this team. Christian Watson is a beginning of the season loss. Speculation he could be back late October, early November. But, I mean, once he's back, this wide receiver room, Jesus, if they hit on either Matthew Golden or Savion Williams, somebody's getting traded by this point of the year if Christian Watson is back and one or both of those have hit as far as being a key contributor on this offense. Because, I mean, even if they run a four wide set, that means Christian Watson's on the field. Matthew Golden's probably on the field. Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed. That means Savion Williams, Dontavian Wicks, and Bo Melton. None of those 3 are getting any run in Green Bay. And let's see. One moment. They also lost A.J. Dillon. I mean, it's not really much to lose. He didn't really, I mean, he was injured, didn't really contribute much last year. I mean, he appeared in 15 games. He had -6 or -64 rush yards over expected, -30 EPA, rush EPA. So, I mean, nothing they're really losing at all in the backfield. On the defensive side of the ball, who did they lose? One of their star names for sure in the likes of Jair Alexander. They finally let him go, move on from him. And is it going to be a key loss? I don't know. I mean, he's just been so injured over he's only played in 14 games the last 2 years. So in the last 4 years, he has missed 13, 27, 28 games. Not ideal for your CB1 not being dependable. Great for the Ravens if they can keep him healthy for the playoffs. I mean, those 7 games, he only allowed 17 receptions, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, had 2 interceptions last year. But I believe Jeff Hafley can scheme around this and it not be much of an issue. They do bring in Nate Hobbs, will help some, but they do have other players around that can pick up the slack in that area. The Packers allowed an almost 10% lower completion percentage with Jair on the field, which was 61% compared to when he was not on the field. So there is a drop-off for sure, but again, they have a full offseason to prepare and not assume he's going to be healthy and on the field. Opposing quarterbacks threw for just 7 touchdowns and 8 interceptions when he was on the field, 77 passer rating. But when he was off, they threw 15 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, 95 passer rating. So the turnovers were still there, just more completions, more touchdowns. All right, strengths of this team. Strengths of the Green Bay Packers. Are Jordan Love, for one. He is a top 10 quarterback when he's playing up to his level. Are they going to pass the ball more this year? He was out and Malik Willis was in there, so they obviously ran the ball more. The problem with him is his bad decision-making under pressure, his goofy interceptions that you see. But, I mean, this offense, when they're clicking, they're clicking. They were 4th in DVOA last year, 3rd in explosive play rate with the pass last year. I mean, Jordan Love recorded the 3rd lowest completion percentage, but averaged 18 air yards per completion on passes outside the pocket. So when he's scrambling, he's throwing it down the field. Not necessarily going to be a completion, but he's throwing it somewhere down there. He completed 6 of those 7 passes outside the pocket when targeting Jaden Reed for 198 yards, but just 10 of 37 on such passes when targeting all the rest of his receivers. So Jaden Reed was his go-to target when outside the pocket. He threw past the sticks on 61% of his 3rd down passes, which is fifth highest rate. Completed only 43%. 10 touchdowns, which was 2nd most. And 5th lowest 3rd down sack rate, which his sack rate wasn't too terrible anyways. Last year overall, appeared in 15 games, 3,400 yards, 25 touchdowns, still 11 interceptions. There's just too many interceptions. He has to cut back on the interceptions for this team to take that next step. Positive EPA, plus 30 EPA last year. I mean, he just has to avoid the interceptions. Another strength of this team is having 17 wide receiver 2s. Matthew Golden doesn't have to be a world beater to help. This team is above average in every category on the offense. They're just not elite. They also have Tucker Kraft at tight end, who was 2nd in yards per route run behind George Kittle last year. Only issue, he had an extremely low ADOT average depth of target, but it's year 3. I think he could take that real big leap in year 3. Josh Jacobs. Man, Josh Jacobs came in from Las Vegas. I expected him to take a step back, and he did the complete opposite. He gained almost 900 yards and scored 10 times on carries directed between the tackles last year. Both led all running backs in the NFL. 686 of those 893 yards came after contact, which is more than the total rushing yards of all but 5 of the other players on carries directed between the tackles. Just absolute monster running downhill. He gained more rushing yards than expected on almost 50% of his carries, the 3rd highest rate among running backs with 100 or more carries last year. 217 rush yards over expected. I mean, it's the 5th most in the NFL. I mean, all around just amazing. The run game was 3rd in DVOA. I mean, mostly due to Josh Jacobs. Another strength of this team is having Matt LaFleur. They were 5th in yards per game, 11th in EPA per play, 7th in EPA per pass. Would have been exponentially higher if it weren't for so many goofy turnovers and goofy interceptions by Jordan Love. They were 10th in EPA per rush. They had the fewest quarterback pressures in the league at 161, just 22 sacks. And Jordan Love had 14 sacks in 15 games. So Malik Willis was taking most of those sacks, I mean, for the 2 games he played. So this team was just all around amazing, and most of it's due to the fact that Matt LaFleur is the play caller on this team. They were blitzed at just the 2nd highest, they were blitzed at the 2nd highest rate. Most of that is to put Jordan Love under pressure, get him pressured, throwing crazy, goofy interceptions like we've mentioned already numerous times. They primarily operate out of 11 and 12 personnel, if you're not really familiar with the Packers. They lean more towards that 11 personnel, which they ran on 2/3 of their plays last year. And since LaFleur has come in 2019, the Packers offense has only landed outside the top 10 in offensive DVOA just once, and they were 12th in 2022. They ranked 4th last year. So, I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, they get another wide receiver in there and Matthew Golden. They get Savion Williams. Everybody else is back. They add Aaron Banks. Josh Jacobs still looks great. This offense could be a top 5 offense if Jordan Love can control the turnovers and the crazy, goofy passes when escaping outside the pocket. Another strength of this team, the farther we go up this rankings, the better the defensive weapon. I mean, the better the strengths get. Defensive weapons. They had the likes of 2nd-year player in Edgerrin Cooper. They have Xavier McKinney. And then they have a bunch of average players. They don't have any really weaknesses on this team. They don't blitz a lot. They second lowest blitzing team. They were 4th in EPA per play allowed last year, 3rd in EPA per pass, 7th in EPA per rush, and had the 8th highest stuff rate. A stuff rate is how many of your plays are tackled at or behind the line of scrimmage. They were 20th in success rate for the entire season, but 4th in success rate for the second half of the season. I'm telling you, the second half of the season, the team just really turned around, flipped the script, and took another step. They were 3rd in turnovers and interceptions. The defense is top 3rd in the league, but it's not going to win them games. It will help, though, when they have the offense that they have that they can and will have more than likely. Devontae Wyatt was good. Rashawn Gary was okay. Edrin Cooper's a star. Xavier McKinney's a star. I really like the young nickel safety combo in Evan Williams and Javon Bullard, both taken last year in the draft in the 2nd and 4th round. Kenny Clark up front is really good. The spine of his defense is really good. The edge is the only worrisome place, but the scheme that Hafley runs keeps them top 10 no matter what. Weaknesses on this team, you could argue the DB room with the departure of Jair Alexander. Don't really know if that's valid, though. The pass rush, they were 20th in quarterback pressure rate. They were 8th in sacks, but they were getting the sacks once they got there. The problem was they just weren't getting there. Not having a true wide receiver one, because as of right now, the top 6 receivers would seem to be Dobbs, Golden, Reed, Wicks, Savion Williams, Mecole Hardman. Maybe Melton over Hardman. They're roughly the same as what you can expect to get out of them. Christian Watson will be back at some point. We'll miss the beginning of the season, though. The best downfield blocker for the Packers is Dontavion Wicks, and that's about it. Dobbs and Reed will try, but they're not locking anybody down in the run game. Golden and Williams, they're rookies, so how much are you going to really get out of them? Matthew Golden doesn't really seem like someone that's going to be blocking much on the outside. So we'll see. The offensive line, it was fine. They couldn't really generate movement like you would want them to. Jordan Love escaped out of the pocket, avoided sacks a lot of times. It's going to be interesting to see what the offensive line can do this year. Just leave it at that. As far as their cap situation goes, they have $296 million committed, which is the 10th least in the NFL. Top players as far as contracts for 2025, Jordan Love, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Xavier McKinney, Elgin Jenkins. Still paying him money. Almost $36 million in cap space. Who's available that they could take a look at? Still a good bit. Asante Samuel Jr., that would be interesting. I would like that for sure. Not really anyone else. They're the only people that are left don't really fit this system much. So that may be the only ones that they go after. Let's see. One second. All right. Dead cap, $35 million. 13th, Jair Alexander, Devondre Campbell, and Preston Smith make up about $29 million of that. Okay. Going to their schedule. With their schedule, week 1, let's bring up their schedule. Week 1, they face Detroit. First off, they have the 5th hardest strength of schedule. 55% win percentage of their opponents. Week 1, they faced Detroit. They're 1-5 in these division games. They were 1-5 last year in division games. That was their problem. And finished the season 11-6. They have to improve. So the one non-divisional game they lost was the opener against the Eagles. They have to improve. Has never happened. Them being 11-6, that's the best record of any team that were 1-5 or worse in their division since the 0-2 alignment. Teams that finished 1-5 in their division had an average total win amount of 4.95. That's 23 teams that have gone 1-5 in their division. It's the average of 5 wins per season. The Packers had 11 last year. Out of those 23, only 2 had winning records, which was the Texans and the Bengals. Both had 9 wins. Neither one of them made the playoffs. So 5 of the 6 losses last year were Detroit, Minnesota, and Philadelphia. Arguably three best teams in the NFC. I know the Commanders made the championship, but those three teams were the three best regular season teams. 5 of 6 divisional games were decided by a field goal. So we're very close to, instead of them being 11-6, to 13-4. 2 of those losses were by field goals as time expires. So this team is right on the cusp of being elite as far as the record goes for 2024. So week 1, Detroit to open up. Week 2, Thursday Night Football, Washington at home. Week 3 at Cleveland. 9-8 on the road last year. 9-8 the last 2 seasons on the road, so they can improve in that aspect. Week 4, they go to Dallas, Sunday Night Football. Their last loss in Dallas was with Brett Favre in 2007. Week 5, an early bye. Week 6, Cincinnati at home. Week 7 at Arizona. Week 8 at Pittsburgh, Sunday Night Football. Week 9, Carolina at home. Little note about Carolina. Bryce Young has only one 300-yard game in 30 career games, and it came against the Packers last year. Threw for 2 touchdowns in the final 8 minutes. Packers ended up losing that game, but Bryce Young is 1-14 on the road. This should be a winnable game for the Packers. Monday Night Football in Week 10 against the Eagles. Week 11 at the Giants, and this may be the Packers' only game against a rookie quarterback in 2025. So that's if Jackson Dart is starting ahead of Wilson and Jameis at that point anyway. Week 12, Minnesota at home. 5 of the 6 divisional games for the Packers are jammed into the final 7 weeks of the season. So the division could really come down to that last fourth of the regular season. Week 13 at Detroit on Thanksgiving. Week 14, Chicago at home. Week 15 at Denver. Week 16, Chicago on a Saturday. And it's worth mentioning that Matt LaFleur was 22-4 in December and January regular season games in his first 5 seasons. 22-4 first 5 seasons, 2-3 last year. Should bounce back more to that average of what he does late in the season. Week 17, Baltimore. Week 18 at Minnesota. This is just such a tough stretch for this team. Okay, I go through on each one of these teams and look at their most valuable players, most improved players, who are the odds-on favorites for each of the awards. Jordan Love has the 8th best odds at plus 2,500 to win MVP. Josh Jacobs is best odds at Offensive Player of the Year at plus 4,000, which is 15th. No one really for Defensive Player of the Year. Edrin Cooper and Xavier McKinney at plus 10,000. They're way down the list. Matthew Golden plus 2,500 for Rookie of the Year, offensive side. No Defensive Rookie of the Year odds. Matt LaFleur is just plus 1,800 for Coach of the Year, which was surprising. Usually I don't give it to coaches that have been there for a while. That's relatively good odds, because if he wins the division and he goes 13-4, I mean, that's pretty likely he could win Coach of the Year. Most improved player on this team, any wide receiver who would love to step up and be a wide receiver 1, or Jordan Love. If he wants to throw 6 interceptions instead of 11, that would be greatly appreciated for all Green Bay fans. Drop-off candidates, I say Xavier McKinney, but I don't know how much of a drop-off you're really going to get. And I say that only because the 8 interceptions are not really replicable. But he still can be absolutely amazing, top 5 at his position, even without the interceptions. X factors on this team, I always say I try to avoid the quarterback in these situations. But it's Jordan Love. The X factor on this team is Jordan Love. He has to take that next leap. He has to stop making the crazy, stupid turnovers. Has to stop with the goofy throws when he's outside the pocket. He's not an X factor in the sense of needing to be good for them to make the playoffs, but more of him being great for them to get to that next level and be able to compete for a Super Bowl this year. So let's finish up the Packers, the old pack. So the Packers, what's the outcome for them in 2025? Do this for every team. Their best outcome, Jordan Love controls the turnovers. The goofy interceptions are a thing of the past. He completely forgets that player that he once was, forcing throws that he should not force, scrambling out of the pocket. And once he does scramble out of the pocket, actually take off and run for once. He scrambles too often and then just holds onto it and makes the goofy throw that ends up in a turnover. Everything else on this team can stay near the same, and they could win the division. It's as simple as that. Minnesota has J.J. McCarthy. Is J.J. McCarthy the answer in Minnesota? Is it going to be easy for them to replicate what they did under Brian Flores with that defense that had a lot of talent issues and just overachieved based on the talent that was on the field? Sure. What's Detroit going to do this year without their offensive coordinator and Ben Johnson and their defensive coordinator? They're both gone. How is that team going to respond to losing both sides, both coaches on both sides? So the Green Bay Packers have a real clear path to win this division in 2025. Worst case scenario for the Packers, Love is still the same, still committing the turnovers. Not having a wide receiver one step up still haunts this team. Josh Jacobs' wear and tear finally shows up. He is getting a little bit older. Detroit is still elite, regardless of who's the offensive or defensive coordinator. Minnesota doesn't skip a beat with J.J. McCarthy. I mean, he's as good as Sam Darnold or better. But you still have the floor for this team being at least 10-7 for Green Bay, and they're still competing for a wild card, honestly. I just don't foresee a scenario outside of Jordan Love being out for an extended period of time, which they went 2-0 last year with Malik Willis, where his team goes worse than 10-7. My realistic expectation for the Green Bay Packers is that Jordan Love does improve his decision-making under pressure for sure, to some extent. Keep it to maybe 7 or 8 interceptions during the season versus 11 over each of the last 2 seasons. Matthew Golden becomes a helpful piece. Nothing extravagant or major, but he is the missing puzzle piece for this wide receiver group and can open up another deep aspect of the field. The defense picks up where it left off in the second half of the season, where they were 4th in success rate allowed. They were just top 5 in every category, but they finished top 10 for the entire season this year. Josh Jacobs is still amazing. Tucker Kraft takes another step forward, and they finished the season around 12-5. At 12-5, it's going to be a toss-up who wins out of them, Minnesota, and Detroit. But 12-5 is very realistic when you look at the Green Bay Packers. So, there's another team down. We have just 8 left. And with those 8 left, who's going to be number 1? We shall see over the next 8 weeks. And we only have a few more weeks after that to restart the NFL season. So if you made it this far, appreciate you stopping by. Follow me at King NFL Stats. Follow everyone at Do Champions. Says Do Media. Do Champions. Every week we'll be right here talking to another team until the season starts. King NFL Stats on every social media platform. Till then, catch you next week.